With Way the Hunter 2 being either released or about to release, depending on the time that you guys are seeing this, I am in early access on the 21st of March right now, so we're quite a while before the game releases. One of the biggest questions that the public is probably asking is, with the new Way the Hunter, how does it compare to Call of the Wild? How does it compare to Way the Hunter 1? There's a lot of different questions that the public probably has, and as someone who has a lot of hours into Way the Hunter 2 already, and has a decent amount of experience with the game from the demo, we're going to talk about in today's video probably the most anticipated topic in the hunting industry right now, or the hunting simulation industry. Which game is better, Call of the Wild or Way the Hunter 2? I'll say this right now, Way the Hunter 2 has some new things and some updated mechanics that have more than enough potential to crush Call of the Wild. But then, Call of the Wild has some pros that Way the Hunter 2 definitely doesn't, that makes Call of the Wild kind of a more enjoyable game for everyone in general. But then again, if you have a different personality and a different taste of video games, Way the Hunter 2 could be the best hunting game of all time. There's so many different factors that play into this topic, and today we're going to cover at least as many as I possibly can. So without further ado guys, if you're new here, my name is Squid, you're watching Squidster Gaming. I primarily make videos here on the Hunter Call of the Wild, and just hunting simulation games in general. If you guys want to join the family, I would strongly suggest that if you enjoy hunting simulation content, definitely go down there and smash that subscribe button. My goal by the end of 2026 is 50,000 subscribers. And if you guys want to help support me in my journey as a content creator, it would be very, very much appreciated if you could help me on out. Pretty much all my extra time does go into these videos, as I'm 16 and I'm doing online high school, so a lot of my time goes to schoolwork, but y'all can always count on hunting some videos from your boy Squid. So without further ado guys, wasting no more of your time, let's go ahead and dive right into it. So over here in Way the Hunter 2, the very first thing that you're going to notice about Way the Hunter 2 is it has Call of the Wild in graphics by a mile. It's running on a brand new engine called Unreal Engine 5, which I actually have experience with myself, and it is not easy to make run stable, meaning 100 plus FPS, with most settings on medium or high on a mid-grade PC such as myself. And they have done an amazing, and I mean amazing job optimizing this, and I'm in an early access build, which is not the same build that you guys are going to be on. Your build will have much less bugs, better optimization so you'll get more frame rate, and there will be hundreds, I cannot express how many bug fixes there'll be, hundreds of bug fixes when the game releases. So mind you right now, if you see anything weird, this is an early access build. They have a team of hundreds of people right now working on these bugs. And most of the bugs aren't even that noticeable besides some weird things with a harvest screen. The graphics in this game are stupid. It is stupid. Look at the VOG out there. This is insane, man. Like, this is how a hunting game is supposed to feel. This literally feels like, I don't know what it is. I was saying this in my first video that I recorded here in early access. It's giving me Cabela's vibes. That's what I feel like when I'm out here in New Laurentia, which is the map that you guys will all have when the game releases. Look at mule deer way out there. Look at that, 800 yards away I can spot a mule deer. Holy crap, dude, that's almost a mile away. That is insane. I feel like I'm at Cabela's. I can't explain it. I don't know what it is. I feel like I'm in the store at Cabela's. I don't know if it's the sounds, the graphics, I don't know, but those are the vibes that I get. And that, in my opinion, as a huge IRL hunter, is how a hunting game is supposed to feel. When I turn on a hunting game, I want to feel like I'm out in the woods, and I've never played a game that gives you that illusion better than Way the Hunter, ever. Even Way the Hunter 1 was extremely, extremely realistic. And we're going to get into more of the details on that here in just a little bit, and I'm going to tell you why Way the Hunter is actually the better hunting simulator, and there's no way around it. So not only does Way the Hunter look better than Call of the Wild graphically, in some ways it actually plays better. I wouldn't say better, I'd say more realistic. A million times more realistic, and we're going to talk about that here in just a second. But, you know, I've seen a lot of people saying that, oh, Way the Hunter 2 is just a rip-off Call of the Wild, and, you know, it blows my mind that people can even have that thought run through their mind, because Way the Hunter 2 is a completely different project than the Hunter Call of the Wild. There is nothing in similarity between the two games besides shooting animals, and the fact that they're both hunting games. There is restrictions with video games In my eyes, in 90% of players' eyes who enjoy Way the Hunter, even Way the Hunter 1, Way the Hunter exceeds those restrictions using Unreal Engine 5. This is a real hunting simulator. As you just seen here a second ago, we spotted mule deer from 800 yards away, which is something that you could definitely do in real life, but you can't in Call of the Wild. In Call of the Wild, render distance is like 400 meters. I don't know how many yards that would be. I'd have to turn it on in peril and go see, but it's a lot less than Way the Hunter, and obviously in real life, you don't have a render distance. Yes, there is still a render distance in Way the Hunter, but it's much more of a realistic one. Although Call of the Wild is a lot older, so that's kind of it's not necessarily an excuse, but the reason that the render distance is very, very low. Although I feel like, especially with modern consoles and PCs and whatnot, a render distance setting that we could turn up and down would be very, very nice, and I feel like the engine could definitely support at least a minor increase. So pretty much immediately, Way the Hunter's got Call of the Wild and realism in the sense of render distance. Next, ballistics. The guns in Way the Hunter 2 are unlike any hunting game I have ever played. It's crazy. Now this scope isn't very good. It's the beginner's scope. But when you get into some of the other scopes, like the loopholes, and yes, there is real-life brands here in Way the Hunter, you'll notice that, my goodness, these scopes are stupid realistic. And when you're playing a hunting game, you want to feel like you're about to actually pull the trigger on an animal. You want to have little issues with trying to get the scope lined up just so perfectly, and I feel like, especially with the animal models here in Way the Hunter being a lot more realistic than Call of the Wild in my opinion, lining up on the animal, that whole process of holding your breath, steadying your aim, zeroing perfectly, and finally pulling the trigger. And you'll notice, as I do pull the trigger, you get that illusion there, that your ears pop. What kind of hunting game, when you pull the trigger, does your freaking ears pop in? It's the coolest thing I've ever seen, man. The amount of times I've just sat here and shot this gun, just for the fun of it, to hear the ear popping thing is so cool. Now, if you don't wear headphones while watching YouTube videos, I'd just suggest waiting until you get your hands on the game. It's probably pretty hard to hear through my screen recorder and my video editor with music and whatnot, but when you pull the trigger, just like in real life, here in Way the Hunter 2, your ears pop. I kid you not, your ears pop. You shoot the gun, and you go deaf for a split second, there's a tiny little bit of like your ears ringing a little bit, And the first time I shot the gun, and you guys will see this in my first EA video here, I thought my ears actually popped because I had my headphones at level 100. And this brings us into sound. The sounds here in Way the Hunter are so much more realistic than Call of the Wild. It really feels like you're out here. The way you can actually see the trees blowing and bending in the wind, and the trees move a little bit more and a little bit more fast when the sounds of the wind get louder. The amount of detail that you just wouldn't notice to make this game more immersive unless you really paid attention. Like I said, it's stupid, the amount of detail they put into this game. It is a true hunting simulator. Now back to ballistics. Shooting here in Way the Hunter is a million times more realistic. You can't just shoot this thing in the back and have it die pretty much instantly. Which, yeah, wouldn't happen in Call of the Wild, but it's a lot easier to slip a lung shot in right here. Or maybe right there. The hitboxes are so much more realistic here in Way the Hunter. You have to be zeroed absolutely perfectly and take note of the distance of it. Maybe I can get a neck shot there. Yes, I can. Absolutely beautiful, man. Nice dull sheep down there. Not a trophy by any means, but you got the reload animation. Dude, it's so smooth. The gun model looks amazing. It's just everything you would want in a hunting simulator. It's exactly what it is. So we got a ram there. Let's see, he's 15 years old. Wow. Fitness of 35, I think that said. This is the perfect time to talk about the aging thing with them. Animals age in Way the Hunter. The trophy system and their fitness and genetics and all that, it's just so much more realistic. In case you can't tell where I'm going with this, and it's just genuinely known by everyone who's played Way the Hunter is more of a simulator. Screw that, Way the Hunter is a simulator. Now Call of the Wild has a lot of pros as well. We're going to go talk about those here in just a second. But the last thing I want to talk about is animal behavior here in Way the Hunter, and you have ways to change this with different settings. We're gonna get my brand new dog here, which is a new thing with Way the Hunter 2 to track my doll sheep because I done forgot where I shot it at. Over here blabbing away. The animals behave in this game, even on the easiest setting, so realistic to a point of where, it genuinely starts to terrify me, man. Like, my heart will start racing, my hands will start sweating as I'm stalking up on animals. This is something I noticed really well in the demo of Way the Hunter 2. Look at the blood there, I mean, look at the way the blood splattered up onto the rock. It's insane, man. They behave, and ignore this harvest screen, there's a little bit of a bug in the content creator build right now. They are working on that as we speak. They behave so much more realistic than Call of the Wild. Call of the Wild, it's pretty simple. If the animal senses you, either by scent, sight, or hearing, then it takes off. Here in Way the Hunter, the animals, it's crazy, man. It is crazy the things that they will do, and it drives you nuts, and that's what you want with a hunting game. You want it to be a realistic, immersive experience. You can be stalking up on an animal, and just like real life, it can do some weird things. It can have a slight idea that you're there, not fully spook, but kind of act weird for a really long time. The whole alert thing is so much more realistic than Call of the Wild, when the animal's got an idea that you're there, but it's not fully spooked yet. They just kind of stand there and tilt its head at you, blow some wheeze calls a couple times, warning calls a couple times, and just move all over the place, walk back and forth for a really long time, until eventually it knows you're there for sure and it spooks. It runs a very long ways, and if you're lucky enough to catch it in a wide open area, you can actually see it standing there and looking back at you, which it blew my mind back in the Way the Hunter 2 demo, and in the new game, in one of the final builds here. Everything about it is mind-blowing. It's just, even on the easiest mode, which I have it on, it's mind-blowing. I can't imagine how difficult this game would be and how realistic it would be on the hardest setting. And I want to make a video on the hardest setting just to see. At this point, it's literally real life. Give me a VR and just put meat in my freezer every time I harvest the deer, bro. That's literally what this is. And just the experience of walking through the woods here in Way the Hunter feels so much more like I'm there in real life. That's just the best way to describe it. It's almost an undescribable feeling you get while playing Way the Hunter. It's like I'm really there, and I don't know if this is, because this specific map looks kind of like where I hunt in real life, or it's just everything mixed together, man. The way the animals act, the sounds, the visuals, everything about this game is, hands down, I can unarguably say this, the most realistic hunting game to ever touch the internet. I have no way around it with the hours that I put into this game back in the demo. I mean, even in the demo, which really wasn't the most enjoyable thing because there was only, 10% of what the game had to offer. I thought Way the Hunter 1 was realistic, and yeah, that game had its downsides and some weird things. Everything about Way the Hunter 2 is better. The sense of distance is much more accurate. 100 yards feels like 100 yards. The animal models look better. The racks are insane. Mind you, there's non-tips in this game. You can find non-typical mule deer just roaming about. Non-typical elk, non-typical moose. I mean, it's crazy. It really is. How much detail and how much realism is into this game. I've never been more blown away with a hunting game in my life. There was a lot of hype around Way the Hunter 1, and I really don't understand why there's not more hype around Way the Hunter 2, because this game is everything about it, better, plus more. So over here in the Hunter Call of the Wild, this game obviously is much older, so graphics and stuff, it's just not even comparable. But the Hunter Call of the Wild is, and could be, a lot more of a fun game depending on the kind of player that you are. If you enjoy a more fast-paced, arcadey style hunting game with things like Great One grinding and whatnot, the Hunter Call of the Wild is definitely the game for you. It's the kind of game, you turn some music on for and grind for 8 hours, which is something that I do quite a lot and something that I'll never stop doing. But I understand that here in the Hunter Call of the Wild, there's a huge chunk of players that aren't really into the whole Great One grinding thing, and they kind of just want that relaxing, immersive hunting experience and a beautiful location and a random map and a random direction, Or even specifically, like drink zone hunting or something. Feed zone hunting, things like that. I think, and I believe, and I know, that Way the Hunter 2 does a much better job with that, and if you're a casual hunter, Way the Hunter 2 is the game for you. It's just better in every way. From the way the animals act, to their models, to the guns and the ballistic system, Way the Hunter 2 is just the ultimate casual hunting game. It is a hunting simulator. Call of the Wild isn't a hunting simulator. It was 8 years ago, and it was a really good hunting simulator 8 years ago, but Call of the Wild nowadays is a strategic animal killer. It's pretty much what I'd classify it as. Yes, casual hunting can still be really, really fun and kind of realistic. Definitely still really, really fun here in Call of the Wild, but Way the Hunter just does a better job with it. It's more realistic, and if you're going for hunting simulation, everything, and I kid you not, everything about Way the Hunter is better. Besides, obviously there only being one map in Way the Hunter, there's less guns, but as of recording this, the game isn't even out yet. And it's already doing a better job with just casual hunting. So, even if you are, more of the grindy players such as myself, I love grinding in Call of the Wild. I'll always consider myself, as of nowadays, more of a grinder than a casual hunter, despite the fact that that's pretty much all I used to do on PlayStation is casual hunt. I now have the option to switch over to Way the Hunter 2. If I get bored with Great One grinding and I want to go casual hunting and I don't really feel like playing Call of the Wild and I want something more realistic, more of a challenge, in a lot of ways more fun depending on the type of person that you are, then Way the Hunter is just going to be a better choice for casual hunting. I'll tell you what, if you're an IRL hunter, or you've ever been IRL hunting in your life and you know those feelings that you get of stalking up on an animal and kind of even shaking a little bit before you pull the trigger, I guarantee you, on the hardest difficulty on Way the Hunter, I would shake before I pull the trigger, especially on a trophy. If you're an IRL hunter and you want a realistic hunting experience from the comfort of your own home, Way the Hunter is just going to be the right choice for you. And then if you want something a little bit more fast-paced while still staying in the hunting industry, Call of the Wild is going to be the best choice for you. I am the perfect mixture of both. Given the fact that multiplayer is destroyed in Hunter Call of the Wild in the modern day, and casual hunting in your map just doesn't feel the same anymore because, well, once you shoot all the trophies on your map, really the only way to get more is to spawn them by shooting and claiming. I think Way the Hunter 2 is just going to be the better game for me, and I'm going to have a lot of content on that game just casual hunting. Why, might you ask? Because of the fact that the animals can age in that game, as I mentioned earlier. The whole experience, in the sense of going out and shooting animals, is better. In the sense of casual hunting, better. Animal sounds, better. Ballistics, better. Graphics, better. The only downside to Way the Hunter, and, you gotta give it to him because the game isn't even out yet, again, as of recording this, is guns. Guns and maps. But back in Way the Hunter 2, back in Way the Hunter 1, look at the amount of DLCs. Look at the amount of maps they've added. Weapons. There's so much I didn't even cover in this video that I guess I'll cover a little bit of right now. I'm just going to keep laying it on you guys. Callers. The entire system of calling in Way the Hunter 2 is so much more than Call of the Wild. Like, on another level. Here in Call of the Wild, if you're just kind of casual hunting around, you smack the call a couple times, and if the animal hears it within 200 meters, it'll start walking towards you. In Way the Hunter 2, there's different techniques that you can use that will attract different age of animals. For example, you can hit the call one time with a very, very specific sound that your player just makes automatically to attract mature animals specifically. And you have to wait a certain amount of time before you hit the call again, otherwise the animals will lose attraction. Little things like that that make it so much more realistic make a massive, massive difference in the sense of hunting simulation. In the sense of trophy hunting, in Call of the Wild, you have things like Great One grinding, where you're abusing the animal's spawn system to spawn trophies, which is a lot of fun to mess with, I will say. I'll never get sick of it, it never gets old, I'll never get bored with it. But in Way the Hunter 2, it's so much more than just a spawn system. It's realistic, once again. The animals are growing. If the animal has bad genetics, chances are it's not going to make it into a trophy, a 5-star, whatever you want to say. It's more about the score, less about the whole 5-star or diamond thing. If the animal's got bad genetics, you can shoot it, and you can find herds that have good genetics, and that's another thing I have to figure out. I have to go read the index and whatnot, and put some time into it. I figured it out back in Way the Hunter 1, but I don't know if there's any differences with Way the Hunter 2. I'm assuming so, because, it only tells you whether it's a 5-star or not on the harvest screen. So just the whole experience of spotting, seeing its fitness, its age, that's all stuff that you do in real life as a hunter. And in conclusion, Way the Hunter 2 is a simulator. Way the Hunter's always been a simulator, but Way the Hunter 2 is the ultimate simulator. I've never played a hunting game, or quite frankly, a game that realistic in my life. Hands down, the best hunting game I have ever played. Is it the funnest, though? It depends on what I'm doing for the day. Again, If I want some fast-paced hunting, great one grinding and music, then Call of the Wild's gonna be the game for the day. If I want to go and hunt from the own comfort of my home and hunt like I'm actually hunting instead of, abusing an animal spawn system or whatnot, Way the Hunter is the game for me. And I don't really have a set choice between the two games. Guaranteed troll there, by the way, great. For me, I have both games and I'm gonna play both games. Way the Hunter is a simulator, Call of the Wild is an arcade game. If realism is your thing specifically, Way the Hunter is the game for you. If fast-paced, fun, fast shooting, spawning trophies, using a spawn system instead of realistic growth in genetics is your thing, then Call of the Wild's the game for you. It's very close between the both of them, and I'll give Call of the Wild this, again, the game is 8 years old, and it's still putting up a massive battle against modern AAA Unreal Engine 5 titles, which is insane. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more content from me on Way the Hunter 2, or just hunting games in general, feel free to join the family. Our goal by the end of 2026 is 50,000 subscribers. Join the Discord server. We have the best community, hands down, man. We're the nicest, the kindest, the most helpful. There's literally a team of people in there that will answer any question you could possibly have, not only about Call of the Wild, but with a new update we're doing here pretty soon, with Way the Hunter 2, and games like Ultimate Hunting, and just, like I said, hunting simulation in general. I'm in public voice chat talking to you guys all the time. If you want to talk to me with your real voice, person to person, join my Discord, man. I actually talk to my viewers. I'm in there as much as I possibly can be because I love every moment of it, man. You guys are amazing. Much love to you guys. Much love to the Squid gang. As always, my name is Squid. You're watching Squidster Gaming, and we'll catch you guys in the next banger. Peace out, my gamers.